What is a critical conversation? A critical conversation is a conversation that reveals important context, not only about ourselves, but about other people. Critical conversations edify, heal, and provide substance. Join Latanya Harris Gooden as she introduces us to critical conversations right here on Trailblazers Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is LHG. I am just coming to let you know that I am an independent paparazzi jewelry consultant. You didn't know that, did you? Well, now you know. So I would love to be your personal jewelry lady. Paparazzi is an amazing company. We sell nickel and lead-free jewelry. We are known for our $5 bling, but you just need to know there is an exclusive Z collection that's $25. It's the bling of all bling when you're really going out on the town and you want to show up absolutely fabulous. So we have items for women, for men, and for young fashionistas out there. We don't discriminate. If you need it, I'm sure we got it. You have the opportunity to follow my page on Facebook called Polished on Purpose, a VIP group. Follow my personal page, Latanya Harris Gooden. And I have my own website that is at your disposal 24/7. So many ways to shop. So let me be the one that makes sure you are accessorized the way you should be, because I want you to be polished on purpose. My mentor always tells me, when you show up, people are checking you out. They're watching you. So why not be polished, be poised, be purposeful? Glam it up with pop, honey. I got what you need. Good evening to you. I am Latanya Harris Gooden. Just call me LHG. It's okay. It's a long name, I know. Welcome to tonight's episode of Girl Chat Weekly. I'm so excited. We have two special guests tonight, and we're talking about a topic that is probably uncomfortable for some, but necessary for many. If it doesn't affect you, it affects someone you know. So please understand my disclaimer. I am married. I do not plan on divorcing if it be in God's will. Okay. However, there is an entire population out here that has experienced divorce, and they've suffered in silence. They've lost their sense of purpose. They've isolated. Some have even hurt themselves because of feeling lost. We're going to get down into that topic tonight. So if it's a trigger for you, I apologize. And maybe it's a good trigger. Maybe it means you're still alive and you need to address something that you've been putting under the rug. And now the rug is just as tall as you and it's walking. So we're going to go there tonight. I have two amazing, beautiful women that are going to grace the stage of Critical Conversations, Girl Chat Weekly. We're going to have an open and candid conversation. But first, an announcement. I don't know why, but the broadcast did not get to Facebook. So you're going to have to go to YouTube. Go to Trailblazers with the Z radio, and I need you to share from there. And I have to figure out with my CEO why it didn't go to Facebook. I'm not techie, so I don't know what happened, but we will get it shared to our pages. So replay watchers, by the time you see this, it'll already be shared to Facebook. Don't worry about that. I just wanted to get that out there. Okay. So we do know it didn't go directly there, but if everybody who can hear me can share it from YouTube to your pages, that'll make sure people can see it. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. For those of you who have given to our GoFundMe for our sister Coco's medical treatment, one of our fellow podcasters, thank you. We still have a ways to go. I will put the GoFundMe in the comments. She has an autoimmune disease that she suffers from and has been suffering for years. And we have information that says she can get a treatment that is somewhat experimental but not covered by insurance. So her team, myself, and CEO and Quint Jones, we are coming together to do a GoFundMe for her to help her get that treatment. Okay. All right. If you know anything about Girl Chat Weekly, you are supposed to have a cup. Now, what you put in the cup is totally up to you, honey. Tonight's flavor of the day is hazelnut Maxwell House, honey. Yes, I sips on this show. I sip. Okay. And you should not be ashy. You should have lotion and you should put it on your hands so that you are not cracking in your skin. We take care of ourselves, sisters. The little things count. They do. I'm going to bring our guest to the screen and we're going to go on with our conversation. I need you to like, share, subscribe. We want to reach 100 subscribers on Trailblazers Radio right away. You can help us by clicking on the bell so you can get notified of all of our shows. All right, let's get started. I'm going to bring my first guest up. Hello, Nanette Murphy.
Hi there. How are you? I love
Oh,
that intro.
thank you. I'm so animated.
I loved it. I was just looking for my hand lotion too. It's so
Thank
funny you said
you.
that.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited to have you on the show and to
Thank
be
you.
able to discuss your journey as it pertains to divorce and living your life with purpose beyond divorce. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. I'm going to bring up my sister as well. Lady Tracy Edwards is in the house. She is the first lady of Liberating Truth Church in Detroit. She's also my sister. And I have to say thank you for always supporting whatever your girl is doing. I appreciate you, sis.
Well, you know how we do.
You know how we
Mhm.
do.
You know how we do.
Mhm.
So, ladies, I'm going to start with a quick word of prayer and then we're going to dive in, okay? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So here we go. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this platform and this opportunity and these willing vessels that came up on my little show to talk about a big topic. But it's not too big for you, guys. It's not so insurmountable that it's the end of life. It's just a transition, it's a turn, it's a change of chapter into the rest of our lives. And I thank you for these women who are going to bring their own unique insight to bless others in a way where she can just know that she's not by herself. She can just keep on going. The end of life is not here. It's just time to turn, to pivot, as they say in these new generations. We're pivoting. So, I'm grateful, God, just for being in the midst of greatness here. All I want you to do is just be here with us and guide our footsteps, guide our words, so that someone could be edified and you be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen. Woo! So I want to tell everybody about Miss Nanette. And I
Okay.
was on Facebook, came across this interview, and I just tuned in. And Nanette Murphy was talking about her experience with divorce later in life. and how she was able to live her life beyond that. Let me give you a little bit about her. She's the mother of 3 adult children, divorced after nearly 25 years of marriage. That's a long time. She remarried 3 years ago. Ah, and she
Four
didn't
now,
think she was
almost
gonna
four.
do it again. It's 4 now. See, we're already at 4. Congratulations for that. And
Thank you.
she was able to triumph through this process. And she found her strength after heartbreak, discovered her drive after healing, and now knows her purpose because of growth and her own transformation. She's an author, writing shattered dreams and new beginnings to inspire and give hope to others. She's also the founder of a Facebook group. There's a Facebook group called Women Divorcing After Decades of Marriage. So you cannot say there is no support out here, ladies. While you're scrolling, find a good group. It's a support group for pretty much everything now. You don't have to do anything alone. You have a support system. Okay. Now, here's my favorite part. She gives women support, advice, and guidance while reminding them. Here's some reminders, ladies. Tend to self care. Nanette knows they need their physical, mental, and spiritual strength while on this journey and beyond. So true. She's also been a part of 2 multi-author anthology books, and she has a digital guide for women to follow on how to prepare for divorce. She will be speaking at the 2023 Women Thrive Summit. If that isn't remarkable, I don't know what is. I am proud of her. I got my virtual ticket today. I can't wait. So this particular summit, for those who don't know, it's women empowerment. They have like 50 different talks that are going to be going on about empowerment, entrepreneurship for women, growth, connection, building long-lasting relationships. And Nanette Murphy will be a featured speaker. Hats off to you. Job well done. So
Thank you.
I need to give another disclaimer. I am not glorifying or glamorizing divorce. I'm not. And for you Christian fanatic old mosquitoes who like to fly around buzzing and yapping, do not get in my inbox. I will block you. This particular platform talks about some of everything. So tonight may not be your journey. You better give God praise. But it's somebody else's journey. And we will not make light of that because you can't connect with it. You can tune me out tonight and come back tomorrow. It's okay. I ain't mad. But there are women out here who will be blessed by this and other conversations. That's why I'm here. I'm not selfish. I may not have gone through it, but I have a mother who went through 2 divorces. And I saw what it did to her. Even though her mouth didn't tell the story, I believe her body kept the score. Her mind kept the score. So I saw firsthand what it did to her and how it changed her. And there was no Facebook back then. There was no support group. There wasn't a divorce coach then. So, and in the church, you did not talk about what? You're going to do what? Like, that is not, well, okay, we can debate that later, but there are certain circumstances that life brings us where the decision has to be made to get out. Or maybe he made the decision to sever the tie. However you land in divorce, you land there. But Nanette is going to give us her testimony on how, even though you land there, all is not lost. All is not lost. You are not walking the green mile, sisters.
No.
You're not being executed like Game of Thrones. No, there is purpose in your life, even if you divorce, even in later in life, you can pick up the pieces and be successful. So I am going to give the floor to Nanette Murphy. Welcome to Critical Conversations GirlChat-Weekly. Woo!
How do I follow that? That was amazing. That was amazing. Well, where would you like me to begin? Where would you
Take
like
us
me to
through your
start?
journey. In your bio, you talk about divorcing after 25 years of marriage. That's a nice chunk of your life. Take us
Oh,
through how did that even how'd that
yeah.
happen and how'd you maneuver through that?
Right. Well, married 25 almost, but together for 30. I met him when I was 18. He was
Wow.
20. You kind of grow up together, really. You have your goals and your aspirations, and yeah, our life was pretty spectacular. I mean, we started off very humble, both from humble beginnings. Nothing extravagant by any stretch of the imagination. But he was smart and talented. He was a computer programmer. Um, I grew up in a small town. I'm actually from Canada originally,
Oh,
and
yeah.
as is he. We were in Windsor for a while and then moved to Michigan. And then from there, we went to California, and he started a business in the dot-com era, and they were one of the successful dot-coms. So from there, I'm definitely, fast forwarding it, but eventually this company grew, exploded. It went like wildfire,
Mhm.
made money, more money than I had ever even dreamt of.
Wow.
And things were going pretty quickly, life happens fast. And then both along that way, I'm raising 3 children. I mean, we have 1 in Canada and 2 in the US, and you're you're trying to keep your children grounded. Like, that was
Yes.
my biggest task. I always told my ex-husband, I'd live with you in a tent. I don't need grandeur. I'm
Wow.
not saying it was wonderful, but we were involved in charities, and we had beautiful events, and our life was nothing short of it looked perfect.
Okay.
But he retired at an early age. He was 41 when he retired.
That is young.
Um, yeah. And, I think just life just I can't blame just him, but life got away from us.
Okay.
And eventually, unfortunately, infidelity crept into our life.
Mm.
And, I had always said to my husband at the time, I said, I could tolerate anything but infidelity
Mhm.
until it's standing right in front of you.
Wow.
And then your body just almost shuts down. It's just like
Mhm.
you can't move, you can't breathe, you're just not sure what to do next, and you're in
Mm.
complete denial.
Wow.
Devastation is what I like to say, because for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
and that is where the title of my book came from. It's Shattered Dreams, like
Yes.
you just can't seem to move forward. You don't know how to.
Mhm.
So, 2 years I lived in silence. Very few people knew what happened, or so I
Mm.
thought. So I thought. Way
Mhm.
more people than I even realized. Um,
Mhm.
you're living with this mask on. Uh,
Mm.
People know something's not right, but they can't quite figure it out. Um, but at the end of the day, um, what was most freeing for me was when I actually moved out of the house. It was just like
Okay.
this weight came off of me. I realized that I can't live like this anymore. It's just not good for me. And interestingly enough, I stayed because of the children and the marriage. Like, that's what everyone always does. And then eventually it realized that I have to leave because of them. I want
Mm.
kids, my daughters. I have 2 daughters and a son. I have to make sure they realize that this is not how you should be treated. Because in
Yes.
those 2 years, there was not any there wasn't a lot of effort on his part to make it work.
Okay.
There was a lot of, talk. There was a lot of claims, but there was no action in it. And, eventually I realized that I love the quote by the beautiful late Lady Di. It's awfully crowded when there's three in a marriage.
Wow.
And and I actually, I heard that quote again when I was writing my book, and I'm like, wow, she nailed it. You
Yes.
can't. You either make the choice to stay with who you're with and you've built your life with, or you don't. And it's a choice. And he made the choice. And I couldn't live like that anymore. So I moved on. Was it easy? Not one step of it was easy. It was a struggle. It was hard. There were many dark times. But somehow I was not going to be defeated. I wasn't going to let this define who I was.
Yes.
So when I've realized, one of the things about healing is, I actually say now, I've kind of pegged it as healing's an active process.
Yes.
Nothing magical. That's like you can't just sit there and wait for the angels to sprinkle the healing dust on you. You actually have to do something. And I tell women that you have to step out of your comfort zone. And one of the first things I like to say is giving back. I started to volunteer at a daycare center.
Wow.
You guys heard of, I'm sure you have, Grace Centers of Hope in Pontiac.
Wow.
We're very much involved with that charity. And they were looking for, I was on Facebook one day, and they were looking for volunteers at the daycare center. I'm like, I can do that. I think I can do that. So I started there, and on one of the most interesting parts, and there was a day when I did not want to go. I was not feeling well. Like, I wasn't feeling mentally well.
Okay.
But I thought, no, this is my day to go to the daycare center. They're relying on me. They need me. So trudge my way in there. And I'm thankfully, I was with the little babies. I was in the little, 6 months old, 1 year old, rocking babies. How tough can that be, right?
They love them when they're that size. That's me all the way.
Absolutely. So I was sitting in a rocking chair, rocking this little baby to sleep. And I just, tears are running down my face. And I'm a mess. And I thought, no, I need to go home. I shouldn't be here. And something was holding me there saying, no, you are right where you should be. And I will never forget that feeling. And I'm like, yep, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Because then I realized that, we all go through hard times. We all have struggles. But when you give of yourself to others who are struggling even more, that is something healing in itself. So that's one of the things I really encourage women to do is give back. Even when you think you don't have anything left in you, there's always room. There's always room. So, and then 2020 hit. I'm going to really fast forward this. 2020, I lived my life. I was doing well. I had actually, met someone, and we were dating, and I was happy. But there was still something that was missing. There was still something. I had children, and I visit them all the time, and a beautiful family, etc. But there was still something that I needed. And it took the confusion. I call it the confusion and the clarity year for me, because clearly it was a confusing year. Everybody was out of sorts. But I found my clarity that year because I started with a simple online course called The Science of Wellbeing. It's a free Yale University course. And it snowballed from there. I was reintroduced to Dr. Michael Beckwith. I knew the name. I hadn't heard it in a while. I knew him from Oprah, so I Googled
Mhm.
him, and he's bald now. The dreadlocks are gone, but I'm like, that's who you are. I knew exactly who you are, and so I just started taking courses on Mind Valley and became a certified life and coach. And it was through meditation that I realized that I needed to be a life coach. I just found it's my prayer. That's my prayer
Mhm.
moment. Um, so yeah, and then from there, divorce coaching and business coaches, and I really just, I mean, I'm clearly trying to condense this as it is a long journey, but just taking your time and really finding that moment and those quiet moments. That's truly
Yes.
when I find the answers that I'm looking for, is when I
Mhm.
just sit still quietly. Even if I'm holding my hot cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever it might be, just to clear my head and
Yes.
realize it. And, when I'm talking to women now, that is my first and foremost priority, that they're taking care of themselves.
Yes.
Um, divorce it's a tricky thing. I am not an advocate by any stretch,
Mhm.
but, I'm here. So what else am I gonna do? But I mean, I truly feel like what else am I gonna do but help somebody else through it?
Yes.
So that is my purpose. That is my
Mhm.
passion, my mission, to let women know that they number 1, they don't have to go on through it alone. I
Yes.
Googled I Googled how to save my marriage. Didn't
Wow.
occur to me how to Google how to divorce. I didn't
Mhm.
know. Hire a lawyer. What else do you do?
Right.
I don't wanna say there's so much more than that, but there are steps to take before that,
Okay.
and it's the preparation, and
Mm.
your lawyer is not meant to help you emotionally. You
Oh,
hire them
wow.
to you hire them to take care of the paperwork. You hire them
Yes.
to sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and the verbiage is correct, um, but it's not you don't wanna sit there and be emotional while you're on the phone with your attorney as his
Wow.
clock is ticking, 'cause he's not gonna turn it off or she's not gonna turn it off.
Wow.
They're just not, you know? They're going to
Mhm.
seem compassionate, and I'm sure they are. I don't wanna say anything bad about the divorce attorneys, but
Mhm.
I think they're just things that we can do, and I speak to women because that's who I coach, that
Mhm.
you can do to make sure that you're ready, so that when you do hire that lawyer, you are ready. You know what your expenses are, you know what your finances look like, you know who you need to hire, and I always say who to hire and in what order, because it's
Wow.
important.
That's good.
See, because it's not the lawyer that's second in line even. Your
Mm.
financial The financial advisor can help you so much. Just get clarity on your money because that is, like, really the number one fear of women divorcing is their
Mhm.
finances. So what are we gonna
Yes.
do? What now? And
Yes.
unfortunately, and no, I've not been doing this very long, and I have horror stories. To tell that I know
Mhm.
of. I can't imagine what other stories are out there, of women who just they don't know what they don't
Mhm.
know. So
Yes.
they walk through blindly, assuming that someone else is going to lead them, and take care of them and not lead them astray.
Wow.
And that's just not always the case, and I'm just the more I do, the more I talk, the more I tell this story, I can feel myself like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to scream it from the mountains." Like, I don't want you to have to get a divorce. I want you to make things work, but sometimes it's not up to you.
Mhm.
It wasn't for me, and yeah, that fight or flight, they say, you know?
Yes. Mhm.
Um, so, that's really and when you reached out to me, and you told me that you heard me somewhere else and I touched you, you were touched by it. I'm like,
Mhm.
that is the answer to the prayer that I want because that's the only way we can really spread the word, spread the messages that we're all trying
Yes.
to get out there. So
Yes.
that's my short-winded version of my story, my journey, because once I get going, it's hard to stop.
That is phenomenal. I want to weigh in with Lady Tracy as you heard Miss Nanette telling her story. What part of that resonates with you?
A lot, especially the infidelity part.
Okay.
You don't get married thinking that your spouse is going to go outside of your marriage.
Mhm.
You're not standing up there at the aisle or, up under the bright lights, wherever you have your ceremony. You think it's just going to be you and your mate together forever.
Mhm.
And it hurts. It
Oh,
especially hurts when it's a friend.
Ooh,
yep. Got you
wow.
there too. Like we're like,
Okay.
yep. Yeah.
I had a
See?
drink, I had a drink on that.
I forgot that part.
Oh, you
Yes.
Whoa.
listen.
I forgot that
We
part.
can tag team off of that one. But first, I
Yes,
want to say,
we could.
LHG, thank you for this platform. This is the
Mhm.
first time that I've come out publicly,
Wow.
about my divorce. I've talked to my friends, they know the ins and out. But for me to share it publicly, I've always wanted what I went through to be able to help somebody else. I knew
Thank-
what I went through wasn't in vain.
Yes. Yes.
And
Oh.
mine was the total opposite. He left.
Okay.
Mhm.
I was brought up to where no matter what, you stay in your marriage, you don't leave, you fight, no, regardless of what he does, you made vows and you don't leave. And that's the way I was. We were married we didn't have 25, we had 13 years. I got married when I was 24.
Wow.
And, you know, he had been unfaithful probably after our third year.
Okay.
And I knew it. But, I'm trying to do the right thing and hang in there. Maybe he's just going through something. And I start being somebody who I wasn't, trying to make him stay home with me. And a lot of times when you get married, you lose yourself because you want to become this person that they want you to be. But
Wow.
we have to understand when we get married, it's two different lives, two different people coming
Yes.
together to make something new. I'm not trying to change you, and you shouldn't try to change me because I am who I am, and this is what you were attracted to. So
Right.
why try to change me once we get married? He's a DJ, so he's out in the clubs a lot, and he's a teacher. The teaching part was okay for me. I'm not a clubber. I don't knock anybody that do it. I did that years ago, out my system. Um, I love God. I'm a church girl, so they say. Um, and I was finding myself in the club with him on the weekends, and then I have to get up and go to church on Sunday mornings, getting in the house 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And you wouldn't get up and go to church with me, but you expected me to be in this nightclub.
Wow.
So when I stopped going to the nightclub, that's when the other women that were there, he started to entertain.
Okay.
Sure.
Then, like I say, a friend, she was a very good friend of mine. Our kids were in the marching band together because he's a marching band teacher. And her and I had got really, really close. And my aunt, she said to me one day, she said, "You better watch her." And I'm like, "Her?" I'm like, no, not her. That's my sister. She would never. And my aunt said, "Yeah, it's something about her. You better watch her."
Wow.
Well, I'll fast forward. So I was helping raise his son. His son's mother dropped him off. I don't know if you all saw the Tina Turner story where the mother just came and gave her kids to Tina and Ike, and that was my story. She did a drive-by. Here go his clothes. Here. So now I'm a mother, not only of my small son, I have another son to raise.
Wow.
So I raised his son from the age of 6 to 18.
Wow.
And fast forward, I went to church one day and we hadn't been arguing. So I was blindsided because I didn't even see this coming. That was the most hurtful thing. If we had a common agreement that the marriage just wasn't working and we were going to part ways, I could have respected that.
Okay.
I went to church. He stayed out all night. I thought something had happened to him by him working at the club.
Mhm.
I'm like, did something happen at the club? So I'm calling my brother, who's a cop. Hey, can you check the police stations? Can you check the hospitals?
Mhm.
My brother says nothing in the system. So I'm calling the cell phone. It will ring at first, and then all of a sudden it started going to voicemail. So I don't get angry and riled up. I guess that's just, I was blessed to be that way. So
Mhm.
I got up the next morning as usual, went to church, came home. He had moved all of his things out.
Wow.
Oh my.
Everything, all his clothes, everything was gone. And I'm standing in my house like, no, I was in shock.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
called my family. They all came over and I called him and he said, I'm not coming back home. I said,
Mm.
what do you mean? And then pictures start floating on the internet of him and this lady, my supposed to be friend. And I was devastated.
Of course.
That wasn't the icing on the cake. I trusted him. We were renting a home.
Mhm.
So I was trusting him to pay the rent. I will take care of the bills. Well, for 3 months, he didn't pay the rent.
Oh no.
So the next phone call I got, the landlord said, you have to be out in 3 days. This is a
Wow.
4-bedroom house that I had to pack up in 3 days. So I basically gave everything away. Furniture, appliances, everything had to go. And I found myself sleeping on a family member's couch. Thank the Lord, my son was in college at the time.
Mhm.
And before I left that house, I was in our bedroom and it's like all my breath just went away. I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating. And I thought to myself, I said, they're going to come here and find me dead in this room. I was just heartbroken. Like, how am I supposed to go on after this?
Right.
And I got up enough strength. I just started calling on the name of Jesus. That's all I knew at that time. I'm like, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. And, I was able to breathe and function. So fast forward, I moved, stayed with my cousin for about 2 months.
Okay.
And during that time, I began to journal.
Good.
I always studied and read my Bible, but I started listening more to gospel music before I went to bed. I
Yes.
would journal, I would pray, and that was my focus. And for 6 years, I focused on me.
Mm.
He left in 2011. We didn't get divorced until 2013 because he was coming back and forth into my life like he wanted to make it work. And that's not what he wanted. He just didn't want me to move forward.
Wow.
And I took 6 years to really love me.
Yes.
I dated me.
Yes.
Good for you.
I would sit in the house. If I didn't feel like cooking, I didn't cook. It was all about me for 6 years. And after that 6th year, I said, okay, God, I said, I'm tired of being by myself. I said, if you feel that I have healed and I'm ready, I say, the man that you created for me, I say, I'm ready for him.
Wow.
And it wasn't even 2 months after that. I was in the hospital room. My aunt was battling cancer. So I would spend the night every night at the hospital. And my now husband of almost 5 years,
Yay.
inboxed me on Facebook.
Nice.
We had crossed paths years ago in church, but at the time I was married, he was married. So it was just a quick hello, and that was it. But he inboxed me, and I'm like, I always thought he was a handsome fella, but of course I didn't see anything. And we have been together since December the 8th, 2017. And he was living in Texas at the time.
Wow.
And so we dated long distance. So my advice to a woman that's going through it or still struggling to make it through it, take out time for yourself.
Yes.
Because you have to grieve. It's a death to something. And when you love, if you really love, it hurts when you're separated from that someone who you gave your all to. And it's okay to grieve. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, get over it. Why are you still crying? Take your time. And see, I didn't have a Facebook group, and I didn't have any women in my family to talk to because they didn't understand. They had never been married. So I went through this by myself, and with my faith and my belief, my belief in God and my, reading the word, that's what got me through. But now it's groups, it's people that don't mind sharing with you. Gravitate to those things because you need help to navigate through this uncharted territory that you didn't plan on swimming in.
Right.
But after that, I'm here to tell you there is life
Yes.
after divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And you will find sometimes the first marriage was just a prelude to really what you're supposed to have and who you're supposed to be with. And my Prince Charming, I thank God for him, because had I stayed in that, or had he never walked out, I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. So happiness does come after divorce. It's not the end all be all. You can make it.
Yes, that
You
is
can make it.
so good. Yes.
That's wonderful.
That's why I do what I do. This particular platform, ladies, was created to have the type of girl chat, like if you were sitting at your favorite little bistro, drinking a cup of Earl Grey. I just love a little Earl Grey. Little Earl Grey tea, some little crumpets or little cookies, and just having a because we go through so much in life as women. We wear so many hats. We're so much to so many people that at some place we tend to lose the essence of who we are.
Yeah.
And I've never been divorced, but again, in seeing my mom go through it, I watched her try to reconnect with who she was.
Yeah.
But one thing that she did, and I'm going to ask you two about it, is there was a rebound person that came so quickly, and it was tumultuous to watch it unfold. One day the gentleman was a minister at our church. I don't know why. My mom and I had to be the taxi cab for all the carless dudes. I'm like, you didn't pay for this, ma'am. This is just too much. Who's he? Who's he? Ah, let's go home. Oh, I gotta take someone. He can catch the bus. He's a man. What is that? But she wanted someone. And sometimes if you're accustomed to being in a marriage, the thought of being alone for some women is terrifying.
Yeah.
You're not used to maneuvering life without another person, good, bad, or indifferent. It's somebody else here. So she went to a second marriage, terrible, landed in a third one, which was the one. My dad, he was my stepfather, but I call him my dad. They were together for almost 30 years. May he rest in peace. And he adored her. He adored my mom. But I can always remember from marriage to marriage. I don't remember her being married to my dad. They were very young when they had me. And back then, if a young girl got pregnant, there was no discussion. You're getting married. Yeah. You may not even know his last name. You're getting married tomorrow. What time is it? Now. You're getting married now. And it didn't matter if you didn't like him like that. It was a one night. Nobody cared about that. This is what you do. You get pregnant, you get married, you go in front of the church, you apologize to the congregation, to God. You messed up, you get married. That's it. Well, it didn't last. It didn't last. I was 3 years old when they divorced. And I just remember my mom just chasing people like, Mama, we were okay. Just I was young, but I just remember her being just kind of like kind of scattered. So is it best to just have, I hate to call it this, a cool down period, Nanette? I mean, what is the best way to handle when you're coming out of something that lasted so long and was your life? How do you give yourself that grace before you jump back?
I think you have to really, and for some, I mean, for me, I was terrified to be with someone else. I met my ex-husband when I was 18. He's all I knew, So, and Did I mention I was almost 50 when I was divorcing?
Wow.
I like I said to my husband, like, WTF, dude? Like, what the heck are you
Right,
doing to
right.
me?
Like,
Like,
what is that?
um, and I mean, I was by myself for a long time. Because in between him leaving, he came back, and it was scattered, it was messy, and like you said, Lady Tracy, somehow it's okay if they're with someone else, but
Yeah.
if you want to be with someone else and not them, they
Mm-mm.
get all in your face and get an attitude.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're the one that created this picture. I
Right,
didn't.
right.
So, I did date a guy for a minute, and then my husband wanted to come back. Well, what am I supposed to do? Take him back? Because that's
Right.
prayed for. I prayed for him to come back.
Right.
And a girlfriend of mine who we actually went through the same thing at the same time.
Wow.
We kind of laugh about it now because I said, "Oh, darn it, I prayed for him to come back. I didn't pray for him to stay." Like, small detail I forgot.
Just a little
Like,
bit clause
I have
addendum.
entire picture. Anyhow, again, I can laugh about it now, but it was hard,
Yeah.
I had found someone that I felt comfortable with, and I really liked him, and I knew it wasn't forever, but I felt good again.
Yeah.
I felt independent. And after my well, I left because he had no intention of making the marriage work, but he didn't want to leave the house, so I said, I'm leaving. But there was a time when I just said, I don't want to date. I don't want any men in my life. I don't, no, and no. And of course, that's when I found someone. I call him my silver fox.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And again,
Love
we
it.
dated for 5 years. I had no intention of getting married again. No intention. And, never say never. Truly, although I have to let you know the whole picture. We really don't live together. I'm in Michigan and he's in Canada. So we see each other like on weekends, and it works.
You make it work.
For now, it
Whatever
works.
works.
Yeah, absolutely. But we don't have children together. We don't,
Mhm.
we were both over 50, divorced, and it's just different, but I really do believe, though, that you have to have a moment, like Lady Tracy said, date yourself,
That's
fall
right.
in love with that woman who looks at you in the mirror every single morning.
Wow.
Make sure you feel comfortable with her. Because I wasn't comfortable being alone. I raised 3 kids. There was always something going on in my house. There was always activity. I was never alone. And now suddenly, like, I'm sitting there watching TV by myself. What?
Wow.
It's almost uncomfortable getting to know you again.
Yeah.
But I value that time now.
Yes.
I like my own schedule, and I like I do me,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like you said, I love the fact that you dated yourself for 6 years. That was
Yes, I did.
so
Yes.
healing too. And then you are able to bring, wow, what a woman to bring to this new man. And
Yes.
what and because the confidence I'm sure you have in yourself now is
Oh.
more than you ever thought, right? Because I
Listen,
know this.
I am
I would have
definitely
done
not the same
No.
woman the first go around.
No.
No.
I actually joke with my husband now. I'm like, I'm really sorry you didn't get me the first time around, but I don't make dinner every night, and I don't do this, and I don't do that.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad he didn't get the old Tracy.
Oh,
I'm glad.
absolutely.
That marriage made me stronger. It
Okay.
made me more confident in myself. It made me understand that I'm enough,
That's powerful.
and sometimes we don't feel like we're enough. I'm enough.
Oh,
I may not have
absolutely.
been enough for him,
Mhm.
but I'm enough.
Yes.
And I wanted to get married again. I didn't know how I was going to trust. God had to fix that. But it was funny. My brother, and this is hilarious. When my brother was giving me away the first time, he had actually just graduated from the police academy, and he had just came from the Marines. So he did his duty as the Marine, and then he became a police officer. So he's walking down the aisle. It was so many red flags, but I'm young, I'm a single mom. Here this man is, he's interested. He want to marry me.
Right.
And we were walking down the aisle. My brother said, you don't have to do this. Are you being forced? He was like, we could turn around right now. So that was one red flag.
Wow.
The second one, my son cried through the entire ceremony. He's 4. He was 4. And he cried through the entire ceremony. And no one could understand. I didn't understand. But he stood up there next to me and he held onto my dress so tight through the entire ceremony. And I ignored the signs. I wish him well. He's remarried now. And when I pray at night, I even pray for him. God, please let him be a different man for her than he was to me.
Tracy.
Because we all grow. And I hope that he's grown. I hope that he's learned from his mistakes. And I hope that he's good to her because she seems to be a good woman. So I pray for their marriage. He just wasn't the man for me.
That's amazing.
And we have to allow our hearts to heal, our bodies to move on, our hearts are stuck. And I'm just a loving person. So I wanted somebody to love me. So I dated for a minute, this guy, good guy, just was the wrong person at the wrong time. And I had to tell him, I say, I'm not well. He said, what do you mean you're not well? I say, I'm not ready to be who you need me to be.
Wow.
I say, I still love my ex-husband. And I had to be honest because I still loved him. I was with him through a whole lot of things. So that's why I didn't understand how you can turn your back on me.
Right.
But another thing that helped me after he left, I went to a women's conference. Pastor Kenlock used to give them. What was the name of them?
Dawn Seekers.
Dawn Seekers. It was maybe 2 months after that, and it was at Little Caesars Arena. And I went by myself. This was 4:00 in the morning. And he said, sometimes you have to thank God that they did what you didn't have the strength to do. And I was like, he's talking to me. I say, get out of my business. I wanted to leave a long time ago. I just didn't have the strength. And I didn't have strong women to gather around me and tell me it would be okay if I decided to leave this unhealthy marriage. So God put it in a way. And I do say God allowed him to exit so the right man can enter.
Yes.
But you have to give your heart time to heal. Because if you love somebody for real, it doesn't feel good when you're separated. You wonder, is he treating her the way that he should have treated you, or who's going to get, the benefits? Because when you're with somebody from the bottom and you help them evolve into this person and then they move on, it's like she's reaping the benefits of all the hard work you put in. How dare you? She wouldn't have been with you when you was on the ground level. So you have to deal with all of those emotions.
Yes.
And find you somebody who's going to pray with you. You can't talk to everybody because some people are actually happy that you're going through that.
Wow.
Because they were jealous in the first place.
Wow.
So true. Absolutely.
You have to be careful who you confide in and find you somebody who's really going to help and pray you through it. I went to church with my best friend, and it was some older women, and they just surrounded me, and they helped push me, and they prayed with me, and they used to make me come over. I mean, after work, they would cook for me, and they really helped me through that first season, and I needed that. So find you some women or a woman that's really going to hold your hand, because you shouldn't walk this journey alone. I wouldn't encourage anybody to walk it alone.
No,
that's
try to walk it alone.
That is 100%.
Everything you said. Now, Lady Tracy, your ex-husband rather, didn't marry the woman that your friend that he didn't.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
And she
Oh,
tried to tell me how horrible of a person he was. I bumped into her
Oh,
and I said, hey, wait
oh
now.
my.
I say, I have forgiven you and I've forgiven him for what y'all did. I said, because if not, I wouldn't be able to move forward. I said,
Right.
I forgive you for stepping inside my marriage. I forgive him for stepping out. I said, but what you will not do is talk to me about him because you had no business being with him in the first
In
place.
the first place. Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, and I'm going to chime in with that because he cheated with a friend, and they are married to this day.
Oh, Jesus.
So that adds a whole new level of forgiveness.
Yes.
My oldest daughter, gets married in the fall, so it's such a joyous occasion.
Yes.
But I'm thankful that by that time I'll have had a year and a half to. It's a process. I have to process all of this, families coming back together that haven't been together in years, and the new dynamics. But also what Lady Tracy said about don't go on this journey alone.
No.
You don't have to either. Not now. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe
Absolutely.
there wasn't a Facebook group. I would have loved to have had access to things that I'm doing.
You okay? Ali.
But yeah, it's just the fact that it's a shameful process for some women, and embarrassing, and especially I think too when someone steps into your marriage, you're like, you feel lesser than you should feel.
Right.
Like you
Right.
have that feeling of what's wrong with me?
Yes.
What did I, that kind of thing. So yes, definitely, Lady Tracy, you and I have much in common that way, is
Yes.
the situation and the knowledge of what
I apologize, ladies. When they hear daddy pull up, it's like
They're
what?
excited. They're excited. I want to give
That's-
our listeners and viewers on Nanette's website, Live Life Now. Is it Live Life
with
Now with Purpose?
purpose. Yes.
That's the website. And she is a divorce coach. And you probably would have never thought we would have that. But when you go through certain things in your life, I think you need someone that is experienced in that area, that understands the process and can give you the guidance and the compassion that it takes to get through that, and not just to survive but to thrive. Because for me, at this point in my life, survival is good, but I really want to see women thrive through these different situations without losing the essence of who she is, and really learning to love every layer, every multifaceted, multidimensional part of who she is. So I need you all to follow Nanette Murphy. Again, she is going to be one of the speakers at the 2023 Women Thrive Summit. You can go online and get your ticket. It's a virtual experience, and I got a free ticket, but you can get one that costs, where you can have replay and all that good stuff. But in order to grow and learn and blossom, you're gonna have to do some things differently, ladies. And it may mean changing your circle. It may mean doing something you've never done. It may mean being a little more adventurous and taking your development and growth seriously. In the driver's seat of your destiny. Yes, God is in control, but He gave you the wheel, and He's helping to guide the car. But you can steer. You can steer. So I love the fact that, Nanette, you're so down to earth and just so cool. And I just wanted my listeners to please follow her, Nanette Murphy.
I have just given you the link. If you want to share that link in our private chat, It's
I need
my
to figure out how to do that.
it's my link to the summit.
Awesome.
And
Hold on,
I
y'all.
appreciate.
I hit something. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm so not techie. I'll figure out how to get it into the comments.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
if they have that link, then it'll take them to the summit, and
Yes.
that's my personal link to the summit.
Awesome.
So that I know
Awesome.
when people are coming in, because I brought them in, which is really important to
Yay!
me.
Yay! And
I
congratulations
appreciate you.
to you.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you.
huge. And I will be praying for your journey as you let the world know your story. Lady Tracy, I can't thank you enough for trusting this platform to share your story. And I pray that my replay watchers just stay tuned, because these Girl Chat weekly sessions, we're going to be getting into a lot of more different topics that we have been dealing with alone. And as Nanette mentioned, there's support out here for so much. You really have to be under a rock to not know. We Google everything. That's what we do now. There's Facebook groups galore. So there really isn't a reason to suffer in silence unless you just make the choice to, but you don't have to. I want to thank my guests. This has been an amazing, power-packed hour of Girl Chat Weekly. I need you all to stay tuned. We're doing this again tomorrow, and tomorrow's topic is part 2 of the state of female friendships.
Oh, wow.
And we
Beautiful.
kind of talked a little bit about some things that went wrong in a few
Mhm.
female friendships, some lines that should never get crossed. We're going to talk about the state of female friendships tomorrow at 8. I have to let you guys go. Please follow Nanette Murphy. Thank you,
Thank
Lady
you.
Tracy Edwards. I appreciate you ladies for making this
Thank
an amazing hour of conversation.
Yes.
Just us girls. Just us girls. So I want to say hi to you all. Please go on YouTube and share from the YouTube page. I don't know why it didn't go to Facebook, but please go to the YouTube under Trailblazers with the Z Radio. Like, subscribe, and share to all your platforms. Let's get this interview out. And prayerfully, one day I'll be speaking at the Women Thrive Summit. I'll put that in the atmosphere. Hey.
Yes, you can.
I love you all and have a wonderful night. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye,
So much.
Nanette. Bye, LHG.
Bye, Lady
Bye.
Tracy. Thank you. Nice to meet you.